Hello and welcome to this week's episode 3 of what's the name of this show?
Your next move with
Your next.
Luann and Erica.
That's right. We are
Yep.
here. We're friends. We're talking real estate today. And today is Tips the Tea on Tuesday. I was like, the tea on Tuesday. It's also Cinco de Mayo, but let's
Yeah.
not date ourselves. But
Well, hey, let's add a bonus to the Cinco de
the
Mayo.
bonus, we're giving margaritas for the Tips Tuesday. The tea is coming at you. Now, Luann was about to share with me some tea, and I had to stop her because the reason why we made this show is because I'm always getting the tea from her, and I figured it'd be nice for you to hear it too. I'm with Caldwell Banker, HBW in Chapel Hill, and
And I'm with Wycott Realtors, Livingston in New Jersey.
that's right. So we are here, professional realtors, here to help you. But okay. Now here comes the tea.
Okay. Well,
Big thing you're
this is really not talked about, but it's very exciting for the buyers, and they're not really aware of this. And so this is like a major thing that I'd like to bring to your attention. Like, say if you're under contract, you're having a home inspection, you find some things wrong, and then all of a sudden you want you want $5,000, $10,000 off the purchase price because you have to do these repairs. Now, the problem is if, say, you're buying a house and then they're willing to reduce the amount by 10,000, let's just say. Well, there's really no value for you in that $10,000 off because they're just reducing the mortgage by 10,000. It gets absorbed in your mortgage, so you don't feel that money. That money is over 30 years time. So
right.
basically what you want to do is you want to get a credit towards your seller's concession. You get a credit towards your closing costs.
Right.
So basically you want that 10,000 off your closing costs, because say if closing costs cost 12,000 and you get like 10,000 off on credits, well then you're, instead of bringing 12,000 to the closing table, you're bringing 2.
Well, you know what, Luann, that happened to us. So I had a buyer and I did when I do an inspection, after I get the inspection report back, I have a company that will come in and give you quotes. It will give you quotes. You give them the inspection report, they'll give you quotes on everything that
Right.
needs to be done. And they give you an estimate. And based on that estimate, I use that estimate to negotiate on behalf of my client. Well,
Good.
just what you just said,
Right.
that lenders do not like to see. Yeah, you don't really want them to see the inspection report. You want to negotiate a credit
Right.
because
Well, they
it
don't
always,
even ask for that.
yeah, it gets red flags. Everybody's got to see. You don't want them involved in that
Right.
process. So we got $10,000, a $10,000 credit, and we used that credit to buy down his interest rate.
That's another good reason. That's right.
We bought
Yes.
down his interest rate with part of it, and his closing costs were significantly reduced. So of what he had to come to the table with, and he happened to be a handy guy,
Right.
so he was able to do a lot of repairs himself. So
Right.
it
Right.
really works hand in hand with that, and that's one
Absolutely.
way, knowledgeable thing that their agent. Today we're talking about ways your buyer's agent can help you save money. So
Absolutely.
the inspection is a big one, when you go to a house, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It
then
could be 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, but you want to utilize that money to your favor, not let it get absorbed in, like your mortgage.
right, because this is really $10,000. What's $10,000 over all those years? That's exactly right, but it can help you right
Yeah.
now. That
Right.
interest rate can really
Like
help.
you'll get real value.
You can buy more house because you have a lower interest rate. You know what I mean? It just
Yes.
makes things better. And also just if you're a first-time home buyer, those closing costs can add up. So
Yes, they certainly can.
have you ever talked a buyer out of buying a home? You saved them from themselves.
Yes, I have. Oh,
Ah,
one time I had in Montclair, right? We were looking at a $750,000 home, and this was back in 2008. And we were on the cusp of Glen Ridge and Montclair, those side streets off of Ridgewood Avenue, which is
okay.
very upscale.
Nice.
And we're going in the house, and the house was renovated. It was beautiful, And we go down into the basement, and the basement, what the male of the partnership there, the husband and the wife. Well, he couldn't stand erect. You know, he had a bend like this. And I'm like, oh, and they love the house. I'm like, no. No. They're like, what do you mean no, no? I'm like, why are you spending like $750,000? And that was a lot of money back in 2008. I would
Right.
probably
A lot
equate
of
to
money
over
right now. Yeah.
$1 million today.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
least. And I was like, there's no way we're spending $750,000 and you cannot utilize his basement. He cannot come down here. It would just be for storage and you cannot utilize the space. And they were so disappointed. They loved the house. But in the end, I found them the ideal house for a better price. I think I found them in the Montclair Estate section for $575,000.
Wow.
And they're still there today and they renovated it and they're going to be selling it for $2.2 million.
And you're gonna
Uh,
be their agent.
yes, of course. Who else? And
I what else?
wow, I mean, and they thanked me today
They
because we
did.
talk about it still.
Well, I can say that I had an incident where we were looking at renovated homes. People flip homes a lot here.
Right,
They have cute little areas that had old homes and they flip them. Well, the one thing I always have in my toolbox is measuring tape. Okay,
right,
so everything looked good on the surface. It looked all nice and shiny, cool, whatever. But sometimes these 1950s, 1960s places, it's just like it's deceiving when they start making it look all chic and nice and they staged it and all the things.
yeah,
But the problem is, when you really look at it, could it fit an actual size washer dryer in the closet that they said was the laundry room? Because there was a water heater
right.
in there too. And I'm like looking at it, I'm like, I don't know. And then they also could not fit a regular size refrigerator. I was just eyeing
That's
it. I said,
important.
let me go to my car and get my measuring tape. And sure enough, there was not, it was like you were going to be living on efficiency, everything like you were in New York City.
Oh,
So I was like, that is not the house you want. That is not the house you want. I also had an investor who wanted to buy property. And once you give them the breakdown, they were like, they're all, oh, I said, you got to remember you're an investor. You're trying to make money. It's not so much how good it looks too.
right,
So
right.
you
Yep.
gotta run the numbers. You
Absolutely.
gotta have your
That's
agent
right.
run the
It's got to make
numbers.
sense.
Yes, it has to make if it don't make money, it don't make sense.
It
So,
don't
I'm
make
still
sense.
looking for something for them. If anybody knows of a laundromat out there, a laundromat series we can get, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yep. We have laundromats out here
I
too.
know, we need to change this. There's a whole family that owns a lot of them out here, and we want what else? Any other stories, Luann? Because that was a good one. That's a good tip. That's
Well,
a good tip.
back in short sale land when the market crashed back in 2008, um we did some door knocking, me and a partner of mine that we had like probably 20 to 30 listings that year just by door knocking,
Mhm.
you know? And
Well,
the
door
list
knocking used to go to people's doors. Oh,
and
that's
knock
my
on the
worst
door.
nightmare.
Well, it was expiring. It was expired actually, and we knocked on the door. I left him my number. I said, "I noticed, your house didn't sell. It expired without a sale. I'd be happy to help you if you have any questions." And he called me up and he told me that that the house was in a short sale. It was ready to foreclose.
Uh-huh.
His bank was IndyMac, and they're no longer in business. They went down with the fall. When the market crashed, they crashed with it. They had all those, illegal loans out there, and it was enough to kill the business or the company, actually. And
Wow.
anyway, he was just like, "Well, it's ready to foreclose," and then he owed $750,000. It was a brand new construction, two family in Bloomfield, and he was really depressed, and it was very sad because he had another house. In Garfield with his family, and that was in foreclosure, but it wasn't foreclosing. It was in, foreclosure status.
Right.
It was like pre-foreclosure. So he had two properties in jeopardy, and then his family was going to be out in the street, and he didn't know what to do. And every day he said he'd wake up and could not get out of this mess. And I told him I'd get him out of the mess. So I said, let's sign up, let's get it listed. I'll get it out there, we'll get it sold. I said, in the meantime, I'm going to get the paperwork for the short sale together. So, Anyway, out of nowhere, Mr. MIA, who had the listing before me, he had the listing and it expired and he did nothing for his
Right.
client. He
Right.
calls up wanting to renew the listing and he goes, I already relisted with another agent. She's going to help me. And then he says, oh, she's lying. IndyMac takes 2 weeks. They're going to foreclose. They're not going to, extend it. So he calls me up all in a panic, all worried. And I said, no, I was like, if you're playing, I guess you got to break things down, with men in sports. So I'm like, hey, I was like, I want to hold his name because I don't want, I want to keep it
Yeah,
private.
yeah, yeah. Keep it
But I'm
private.
like, when you're playing for the Boston Red Sox, and nothing against Boston Red Sox, it's just
Okay.
Boston Red Sox and, New York Yankees as an analogy. I was
Mhm.
like, and you get traded to the New York Yankees. I said, are you going to listen to the Boston Red Sox or are you going to listen to the New York Yankees? And he goes, I'm going to listen to the New York Yankees. I said, well, stop listening to the Boston Red Sox. He's
Exactly.
no longer on your team. I'm on your team now. So
Right.
I told him what to do. We went to Newark. We got our extension, 28-day extension, because we did simultaneously. You have a 14-day extension two times. So we had 28 days. We got a buyer. I put flawless because IndyMac called me up and said, never, I guess, since the short sale has been going on, and there's lots of documents that need to be, sent over to the bank for review. They said that my file was flawless and no other paperwork was needed. Now, I
Mm,
needed to be flawless because once they get a complete package, then they could put the foreclosure on hold, which they did.
right.
And the buyer wound up getting that house for 50 cents on the dollar.
Wow.
And now, fast forward, that house is worth over $1 million.
Wow, wow. We got interference. Hold on, let me close the door. In the office. That's fantastic. So
Yeah.
you can get some good things, but, I know that you are an expert in short sales, foreclosures. You've done it all.
Hmm.
Where there's a will, there's a way,
Right.
and I'm learning from you on that one because I have not done that kind of thing. Although I did have an incident where, somebody wanted to come to the table with less than what was owed, and I was like, and I had some inquiries about it. So it's a
Yeah.
hard thing for people to understand. They think they can go make a quick buck and get a foreclosure, but most of the time in foreclosures, you got to come with cash and ready to pay, and
Well, yeah,
you
yeah,
got to negotiate with the
yes,
bank. With the
or
offer, you got to get it approved. So
yeah, but the thing is about foreclosures, and I emphasize this because even these first-time home buyers, they're like, "Oh, I want to get a deal foreclosure." They paint it so like rosy, like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
right,
And the thing is the bank will do nothing. You have to do everything. You're responsible for the repairs. If you have a home inspection, it's for informational purposes only. Maybe if there's an oil tank, then maybe you could push them to take it out, but they may
North
not do
Carolina
that.
doesn't have oil tanks, so
Yeah, well, we have oil tanks here in
I
New
know. I
Jersey.
remember because I lived there. So you got to check the
Yeah.
property
Yeah,
for oil
so,
tanks.
it's not cracked up what, everyone emphasizes it to be. They paint like this rosy picture on foreclosures. There's another side to it. And basically, you really need to be an experienced person, thick skin, not caring as much and being worried.
Can't be
First-time home
emotional.
buyers are worried as it is on
Right,
everything.
right, right.
So
So you
this
think
is
it's a
just
good
an
thing, but it's hard.
escalation. Yeah, this is an escalation.
So this is the tea on Tuesday, and
Yeah,
we have given you some hot tea today, and negotiating for your home, ways you can get credits for repairs, and a little bit about your experience and how we've saved people money and
right.
time for places that they think look good but don't necessarily fit them. And in the end, we don't get paid unless you buy a home. So
Right, unless
we
we
have to be
close.
on our integrity and our honesty, and we have to be out for the best interest of our clients, which is what I'm out here for. I'm not really out here. I mean, I do like to trust me, I got to pay bills, but in the end, I wouldn't be able to go to sleep at night if I sold you a bag of beans
Right,
and there was no water to soak them.
right. Well, we're definitely in this for the heart and the love of it
Yeah.
because there's just too much going on. If you don't have your heart in it, you're not going to last in this business.
Exactly. All right, you guys. Well, we're signing out for this episode 3, and stay tuned for the next one. We're going to talk about zestimates because it's zappy. And we hope you tune in, like, subscribe, and share with your friends because we got a lot of things. We got a lot of time. We just talk, and we love to share with you. Have a good day. What do you say, Luann?
See you next time on Your Next Move.
With Erica and Luann. Have a good one.
There you go.